Well, it's May 5th, 2020, and I just rolled over 50,000 miles on my 2017 Tesla Model X. And while I haven't posted a lot of videos on my YouTube channel, I thought I'd take this opportunity to give you my 50,000 mile update. It just so happens I'm on a ski trip today. Overall, I really do like this Tesla. Now, it's not without its faults, and it definitely has its quirks, but I've learned to really appreciate driving an electric car for the past 50,000 miles, and it's really been a lot of fun and an enjoyable experience. As we're coming down off of Togety Pass, we're getting an awful lot of regen. Well, now that we've dropped down off of Togety Pass and we're down in Teton National Park, I've pulled over to one of the pullouts here. I thought I'd take a little glory shot with the pretty Tesla Model X and the Tetons in the background. I still think it's a pretty car. I've been very happy with Tesla. No real complaints. And I had some concerns when we started down this journey. One of them was that I live 220 miles away from the nearest service center. I was concerned that that might become an issue, but it really hasn't. I've had to go to the service center a couple times over the course of the past couple of years. I've also been visited by the mobile tech people. Everybody's been professional, kind, and courteous. They've given me loaner cars on every occasion that I've needed one. And it's all the work's been done under warranty, with the exception of one thing where I damaged the mirror. I haven't had any real major issues to speak of. The only real nagging and long-term irritating thing has been the front vibration that is real common to all Tesla Model X's. It only occurs under hard acceleration. You get this little bit of vibration. Tesla has made 2 different attempts to try to remedy it. And each time it's only lasted a few thousand miles and it comes back. So I'm convinced that that is just a quirk with this particular car. They assure me that there's no danger involved, but the only solution to that problem is going to be a redesign. Now, I live in a rural area of northwest Wyoming, and so almost all of the miles I put on this Tesla have been highway miles. Now, I'm retired, so I don't do a daily commute, and I don't drive every day, but when I do drive, the trips tend to be 200 miles plus or more. I have sort of a defined circle from my house to various destinations for hiking and skiing and shopping, and venturing outside that circle is a little more problematic. I do make several trips a year to visit friends and relatives. I've gone to Minneapolis a couple times. I've been down far south as Tucson, Arizona. I've been to Port Angeles, Washington on a couple occasions. I even went to the mothership in California. And so I am very familiar with taking long distance drives in this car. For the most part, during the summertime and when the weather is mild, it's pretty easy for me to make those trips. Where I run into problems is in the wintertime, and the range is dramatically reduced. For example, for me, if I want to head to Minnesota, I've got to add virtually 300 miles onto my trip, because instead of just taking a direct route to head east and then north, I have to drop down to I-80 and head across. So if I want to go on a long distance trip in the wintertime, I just about have to take a gasoline-powered car. You know, if I lived in a much more mild climate, or there was a lot more superchargers or other charging opportunities, then this car could probably be my only car. But as it is right now, I have to have a second car, a gasoline-powered car, which happens to be a Subaru. Now, after 50,000 miles, you know, it doesn't drive like a brand new car, and that's to be expected. But overall, I can't say it's any better or any worse than any other car I've ever owned. So what are the best features of owning a Tesla, and the Model X in particular? It's amazing to me to be able to drive something that is so powerful, has so much performance, and still eco-friendly. That combination just boggles the mind every time that I think about it. I just don't think I could ever go back to an underpowered eco car ever again. I really look forward to the day when I can be an all-electric household, and nothing would make me happier than to jettison my gas-powered car. But for now, the lack of the charging infrastructure and the range degradation that we get on these electric cars in the wintertime just doesn't make that practical for me. I really look forward to the day when I can buy a Tesla with an EPA rated range of 450 miles, and hopefully that would translate to a 300-mile winter range. that would go a long ways towards me meeting my goals. And I think with that, I would be comfortable getting rid of my Subaru. I think it's hard for somebody who hasn't driven a Tesla to really understand what a transformative experience this is. It actually catches you by surprise. And for me, probably the biggest surprise, the thing I enjoy the most, is the power and performance of this car. I also like features that I never would have even thought of. The ability to preheat the car or to pre-cool the car, or when you're sitting and you're waiting in a parking lot or waiting to pick somebody up, just being comfortable in your car without having to have it idle away. I think the one thing that I appreciate the most about this car is the regenerative braking. And not so much just getting the energy back into the car when you're coming downhill, but how much safer you feel when you're coming down off of a steep mountain pass on an icy road. It's always touch and go with most vehicles, even with my Subaru with winter tires on. You're always on that fine balance of trying to slow the car down and stay in control and not slide off the road. You're fighting gravity. I found with the Tesla, you just feel so much more in control coming down a steep hill, more than I ever have with any all-wheel drive car with a conventional transmission or an automatic transmission and brakes. That itself is worth every bit of an electric car. I really eagerly anticipate bigger batteries and better charging infrastructure out here, and it will be real easy for me to say goodbye to that ICE car forever.